Welcome to the Visibility Vixen podcast, where we create space to grow our brand with intention and clarity, one episode at a time. Join us as we explore the many aspects of entrepreneurship, start loving the journey instead of the destination, and begin building a legacy that lasts. Here's your host, Michelle Lewis.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Visibility Vixen. Today is a thrilling day, and why is it thrilling? Because Taylor Manning is our guest on the show today. Welcome, Taylor.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I am so excited. Okay, guys, I met Taylor in New York and have been cyber stalking her ever since. And I mean that as a compliment. She's a genius, and she's only 21 years old. Amazing, right? If we would have had this knowledge at 21. She's incredible, and I'm going to read you just a little bit of her tag. Taylor Manning is a marketing mentor and strategist for ambitious millennials ready to take their online coaching business from 4-figure months to 5-figure months. So Taylor, give us a little bit of a background of how you came to be in the entrepreneur field and what you've accomplished since launching your business.
Awesome. Yeah. So I got started, to make a super long story super short, in college. I mean, I guess this kind of shows my entrepreneurial spirit. I came across a video online that I of course watched called just something about how to make money online, right? Like super vague and just kind of crazy. But I watched it and it talked about things like online tutoring, freelancing, those sites where you take all the surveys and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I tried it all. That's how I found a site called UpWork, which a lot of the people listening may know. Maybe you've hired a VA there, or who knows. But I started off there and honestly how I marketed myself was like, hey, I'm a young, cheap college student that can pretty much do whatever you want me to learn.
I love it.
Yeah, I didn't really bring a lot of skills to the table, but I just kind of assumed okay, I'd be good at social media. I can write, I can do little tasks. Plus my dad had owned a business, so I knew kind of how to do pretty simple office tasks, and I could catch on to stuff really quickly. So anyway, started off there in May of 2014, right before I turned 19. So it's pretty much been my whole life. And I was charged. This is a funny story really quick. My first gig, I applied for it and I got it. The day I watched this video, which was so crazy. Wow. And I accepted this job for $7.70 or $7.70 an hour, or something crazy like that. And I realized how crazy it was because it was less than minimum wage. My first time negotiating, I had to message this guy and be like, can you pay me 10 cents more so it would be minimum wage? I can't take it if it's not minimum wage. Knew nothing about what I was doing. But now over the past few years, obviously things really took off. Eventually I hired my own coach. I transitioned into coaching. Now I've transitioned a lot into group programs and courses, making multiple 6 figures a year, which is kind of mind blowing, and teaching other ambitious millennials about my story and how I did it and how they can do it.
I love that. It was so much fun watching you at Ascend Live because you just were sitting there and kind of, quiet at the beginning and absorbing all this information, and then just hearing your story and hearing how you've grown your business absolutely blew me away. And I love your tenacity. I'm in Taylor's group, Ambitious Millennial Entrepreneurs, so get your butt over there if you're not in there already. I'll have the link below. But her compassion really comes through in her group, and that's what I really, really love about Taylor. It comes through in her messaging. She's very, for lack of a better word, exposed. This is me and all of my honesty and integrity, and this is where I want to bring you, and that's what I really, really love about your marketing. So it's hard for a lot of women to get to the place of being able to be fully visible because they have a lot of wounds. So can you talk us through a little bit of your journey of being able to maybe before how you present yourself online and now how you present yourself online?
Yeah, so like I said, when I first started freelancing, I was pretty open about my age and that I was a college student, and that's how I marketed myself. But I put that together as cheap college student that can do some marketing, right? Not super talented, very cost affordable, willing to learn. And so once I transitioned into coaching, which was nearly 2 years later, I had known a lot more, and I knew I wanted to charge a lot more and work less and really scale, and that coaching was the next step for me. And I thought that meant that I really had to change this messaging. So I didn't embrace really anything about myself. Now it's kind of funny because my age is like, some people may think it's weird to always bring it up, but it's like part of my brand, right?
Totally.
Like that's what I attract people that are my age. But in the
Totally.
beginning, like I would just like talking on discovery calls, talking with clients, I would literally just like hope and pray that they would not ask my age, because I thought that would be a total like, you know, end of story.
Right.
No way, not working with a coach who's like 20 or 21.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like constantly scared that like my age would get out. It was like this fear that I put in my mind. And I was also going through a lot of like emotional stuff where I kind of like adult ran away from home, like to live with my boyfriend that nobody in my family approved of. And I was feeling super self-conscious. And so it was like, I didn't want anyone to know really anything about me. So all I could really like sell was my skills, and like everything else was super like hidden. You know, it's not like I was lying, but I was not being myself. I was trying to just be a brand instead of a human.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so it was weird, of course, but I got really used to it. And I did my business. I grew my business for about like my coaching business for like 5 or 6 months like that. And I met a biz bestie, Holly, and we met in person, and she's like, you know, your brand and like how you show up is nothing like you. Like I didn't know, and she meant it in a good way, but she's like, you're so amazing. You're funny. You're whatever, right? Whatever she describes me. But she's like, but you don't put that out there, you know? And so I kind of just like jumped right in. I was like, one day I'm like, hey, this is how old I am. This is how awesome I am. This is everything you need to know about me. Just like put my whole like life story out there, which was super scary. Like I was like crying, writing this post and like freaking out, like what's going to happen next. And it went really well, because after that, like my business totally skyrocketed. Like the next week, so this happened in May, whereas in April, I didn't even sign a coaching client. I was super struggling. And then in May, I signed like 6 or 7 clients, like in a week.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Resonated with it. And these weren't just other 20, 21, 22-year-olds. These were women in their 30s and 40s and however old they are. But they were just like, that was so empowering. That was so inspiring. And it was, first of all, it was a little frustrating. Because it's like, I've been hiding this whole time.
If I could only go back in time.
Yeah. So.
Well, I love that. I think that that's so powerful for people to hear. And we're in live streaming month, so I want to transition just a little bit into your Facebook group, because there's so many different aspects to Facebook Live. You can do it on your personal page, your business page, but what's really popular right now that some people are doing effectively, some people are not, is live streaming in their Facebook groups. And you have become a powerful master at this. So I would love to hear a little bit about kind of how you got introduced to Facebook Live and the strategies that you've been using with the people in your group.
Yeah, so gosh, I don't even remember when Facebook Live first came out, but it was just kind of last year, right, when it was released. And it was kind of, well, it was at the same time that Periscope was like dying out, because Facebook Live was kind of taking over. So I actually started live streaming when Periscope got really popular. Of course, I struggled, probably how a lot of people are struggling now with Facebook Live, where I didn't start Periscope like in the beginning, right? When that app first launched, and like that's when you should have got in and been an early adapter or whatever. Like I just sat back and watched live streams literally all day long. Like I have another story about that, but long story short, I used to literally dream Periscopes. It like took over. It was bad. Like it drove me nuts. Yeah. So anyway, that like I loved it, and I loved the live stream, and I loved how like you could connect with people and see their life and get to know them, but I was so afraid to do it. But right before Facebook Live came out, that's when I really kind of started getting into that. And then when Facebook Live came out, I was like, oh, this is the perfect opportunity, because I had already had, my Facebook group was probably like 1,000 to 2,000 people. I was like, wow, I already have this community here. Here's another way to really show up fully. It was kind of right in that transition, if I remember right. So that's why I Facebook Live in my group, because that's where my people are. And I feel like it's kind of exclusive, and it's kind of, obviously it's a community. That's what everyone calls it. It's kind of like a little club. Like I just get to show up for my people that are following me. I really like that.
I really do too. So because I've seen a lot of different live stream use, some are Q&As, some are like when you're recording a training, you'll put your camera on and like give a little exclusive. So tell me a little bit about that and how like the results you've seen in terms of engagement in your group, because a lot of people struggle in their groups for engagement.
Yeah, so here's the thing. When I was first starting, my group was struggling with engagement for sure. Now that's not a huge problem, but what I had to do is just start live streaming topics just to like get people kind of used to seeing me on video and showing up and being interested. So that's kind of how I started, and how I always recommend starting is like, because Q&As used to be so hard to get people to even ask anything, like that could be a struggle. So I would just pick a topic that I knew my clients were interested in, or maybe someone had asked me in the past, something kind of popular, and just like make a couple bullet points on a Post-it note, literally probably stick it on my computer screen, and live stream about it. And in the beginning, you're probably not going to have a lot of people showing up. You're probably not going to have a lot of engagement, because people just have to get used to it and start realizing how much they love watching you before they show up. So just do it kind of like you're recording a video. Now that I have picked up on engagement, I love the Q&As because it makes it so I don't have to pick a topic. I'm just like, hey, what do you want me to answer today? I always like to get questions first, though, because still, even with how engaged my group is, I never know. Like, I never know how many people are going to show up live and actually be commenting still. So always ask for some questions first. And then I really just live stream my webinars and stuff like that, just because the group is kind of private enough where it's like I'm not putting it totally public for the whole world to see. So signing up for the webinar is still beneficial. But they're like my people. They're my ladies. So I let them see everything.
I love that. So some of the people, especially as I take people through the Comfy on Camera Challenge, they really struggle if they're more of a like be introverted personality, and they feel like I cannot get on camera, like regardless, like come into a group and live stream, blah, blah, blah. So do you have any words of wisdom for that woman that's really feeling like I am terrified to be visible in a group?
Oh my gosh. It's hard to give like advice or something to do to get over it, because I was that way too. Like, I really don't appear super introverted when people are interviewing me, but I am really introverted. Like at the event, I'm very quiet, reserved, at least when I'm like still checking things out, right? Like
scoping it out.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah, what's going on? But it was really scary for me to do my first Periscope. I think I probably did a couple that I just deleted. I know I did a couple that I just deleted like right away, like freaked out. But the fact is, like, you just have to do it. I think that I just had to keep doing it. So a couple of my rules for like my clients who are new at it, or even that I was following in the beginning, and I kind of still do follow, is before I got used to the comments, because that like really freaks people out, where they like see a comment and then their mind goes blank. Like,
so
that happened.
Oh,
yeah.
Someone's actually here. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
So my thing is just make some notes. Like I said, I'm like totally all about Post-it notes, but you can use whatever you want. But make some notes so they're right there, so you do not forget what you're talking about, because I know that's a big fear. And like I said, like just go through it like you're recording a video. Like your first few times, even if they're not going to be perfect, right? They're not even going to be amazing. They're probably just going to be, you know, iffy. But that's okay. Like you have to get through that. So I say you're not probably going to have a lot of comments. You're probably not going to have a lot of people watching. But if you do, like, if your first live stream, you kind of ignore the comments. That's what I did. Like, my first few comments, I was just like, nope, not going to read them. I'm so scared. That's what I would say. You could even cover up where your comments are showing and just act like you can't see them. Like,
smart.
Get used to it, because that is something about live stream that you have to, like, navigate and get used to. I had another tip, too, but I forgot it.
That's okay. Maybe it'll come to you in a few minutes. So let's talk a little bit about in terms of how you've been able to use live streaming and your Facebook group to kind of up your revenue in terms of passive income. Do you have any tips or tricks? Because I know a lot of people are starting out and maybe they have their coaching packages together, but maybe that's kind of it. So have you been able to utilize like tripwires or, you know, paid webinars, or just kind of give us a little bit of a taste of how you've been able to monetize your group in terms of live streaming?
So I've monetized my group with everything that I could think of to sell. But live streaming is seriously a great way to sell. Like, first of all, you're hooking people in with a really good topic and you're giving them really good tips, and you're gaining trust really quickly. Like, I think you kind of gain trust, like every live stream they're watching, and you're gaining trust as it goes, and you're kind of gaining like a connection, a friendship, a relationship. So I know that a lot of people get really afraid to pitch on their live streams. It's like kind of nerve wracking. Like, what if you say it wrong? What if you freak out? All the same fears of live streaming in general. One thing that I think is really cool that I've done is, well, funnels, which you've been working on too, and tripwires. So tripwires, when you sell something right on your thank you page, and if you do a funnel, you could really, what you could have is like freebie, thank you page with like a $27 product, and then some emails that lead to maybe a little bit higher price product or discovery calls for your one-on-one. What's so cool about that is you're giving people free content, and then you're like, hey, guess what? I have more free stuff you're going to love. Go sign up for this PDF or this video, whatever, totally free. Kind of takes some nerves off of like asking for money, but then as soon as they get to your thank you page, they see a super juicy, amazing offer, and then same within your funnel, right? So I really like that.
That has changed everything for me. Like, I cannot tell you, at the event, they were talking about tripwires, and I'm kind of like, oh, ooh, like this, I know this is supposed to be my next step. So I just absorbed everything in and came back and started implementing that. And so it's been so helpful. And if you guys, if nothing else, like, subscribe to Taylor's email, her list, so that you can see this in action. I mean, she has incredible trainings that absolutely you should buy, but the way she's mastered this is just incredible. So for the Comfy on Camera Challenge, you opt in, and then you immediately get like, hey, do you want a Facebook Live template so that you can nail your Facebook Lives every time, and it's only $17. And so when I started, like, I made that live and then started seeing the sales, it was the best feeling ever, because you feel like you're really providing that value. And I had someone pop in the group today, and they're like, so I wanted to come into the group first and check it out before buying something, but now I regret that I didn't buy that offer. Like, what was that link again? Like, it provides so much. So I, like, hats off to you, my dear. I've learned so much from you. I think that it's such an incredible strategy that really, really, really can benefit your business no matter where you're at.
Yeah. I mean, most of us are growing our list anyway, or we know we should be. So it's on most of our to-do list, whether we're doing it now or later. So why not? I mean, there's so many benefits of it. One, you're making money, you know, for your business. That's a great benefit. But there's also so many benefits of people actually buying on the thank you page, because you're priming them to buy again. You're getting them used to saying yes to you. You're giving them a really easy way to see what your paid content is like. And it's funny because a lot of people get fear as well about the tripwire, but it's such a confidence booster too. When people are buying it, you're like, wow, people actually want to buy from me. And people love buying tripwires because they're usually pretty low cost. And so it's just exciting for them to be able, like, they feel excited, I found, to buy something pretty cheap, I guess we can say, from you, and then get all this value, get a template or whatever. Like, it's a confidence booster both ways, for them to buy from you again, and just for you to know that, like, people actually want your products.
And I feel like it keeps the engagement higher in the groups as well. I've noticed a big difference from when I had tripwires to when I didn't, because my group felt very, like, I don't want to be mean and say like dead, but the engagement was not high. And so I started incorporating this, and I really noticed that especially the women that purchased were much more active in the group. So why do you think that that is?
I think that's because it's just like if you invest in a coach, you're probably going to be following them and paying a lot more attention to them. And it's an investment, and it kind of like commits them to you a little bit, right? So like, even if they're only paying you $17, you're like, one, maybe you're just blowing them away and they're like, oh my God, this is so good. I love it. I'm obsessed with her now. And I guess I should say, they're kind of like, now they're invested in you, right? So it's like, they want to follow you. They want to be engaged with you. It builds trust too. It's kind of, I just feel like if I buy from somebody, I kind of feel like now I'm in their inner circle a little bit. Like, it just builds that kind of connection.
I totally agree. I think that that's so true, and I am so blessed to have come across you in my path to help me kind of figure things out. You're such an inspiration, and I think, like, if you have any words of wisdom for, like, what you tell the women that are really, really struggling with their visibility in terms of what's really holding them back, what do you think?
You know what was really the biggest game changer for me, and I kind of mentioned this, but it was just really good to find a friend that was online that I was able to tell, like, exactly who I was, tell her what I was afraid of, be really honest with her. And especially if you're introverted, sometimes where you're really good at like wanting approval and validation, my biz bestie really gave that to me. And she also lovingly shoved me and made me be myself, because she's like, you're not being yourself. So find somebody that, and this might be a biz bestie, maybe for you it might need to be a coach, which I've been in that position as well. Somebody who can really like love you no matter who you are, and then push you to really be visible and be yourself. I think that's been the biggest thing for me.
That's a great tip. For me, my entire business structure changed after I went with a friend to coffee, and she said, why don't you teach women how to be on video? And I was like, everyone knows that. Like, no one's going to want to hear about that. And she's like, you idiot. Yes, they do. And I'm like, oh, and that changed everything. So that's a fantastic point. And I think if you're struggling with, oh my gosh, like, where do I find this person? A Facebook group is the perfect place. Like, all the women in my mastermind, I met in Facebook groups. So whether it's in Taylor's group, my group, like, just go in and just start talking. Chances are whatever you're feeling and thinking, someone else is too. Maybe just they're too scared to actually put it in a post. So just have the bravery to go in and say, I'm really looking for someone where we can hop on a Google Hangout or Skype or something and just chat and talk about being an entrepreneur. We tend to get so isolated that we forget that there's other people out there that are struggling with the same things that we are.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, let's talk about what you are graciously giving our audience today. Why don't you talk about the freebie?
So the freebie that I am sharing with everybody is my PDF. It's a checklist / guide mix. Basically, it's the 6 must-haves of a 6-figure business, and it's really the 6 things that have made all the difference for me. One of those is going to be sales funnels and the passive income thing that we're talking about today.
Ooh.
So, and a couple of things that we mentioned today are in there too. So it's just something that you can kind of read and look over and ask yourself, like, okay, do I have these 6 pieces? And start getting those in place. I think this is really going to show you like some really good stuff to actually focus on. Because I think also as an entrepreneur, we have like shiny object syndrome, or like trying to focus on everything once. Yeah. So I'm really excited, and we'll give them the link for that.
I love that. I think a lot of people can feel, like you said, lost, confused, like they are paddling in this stormy sea, and they're like, I don't even know what to focus on next. I'm hearing about courses and this and that, and oh my God. So it's so helpful to have a checklist like this to be able to reference and go, these are my clear paths, to stop yourself from the shiny object syndrome. Because really the difference between people that are successful and people who are not is that they actually complete. Right? So this is a great idea for you to download. I highly, highly recommend that. And before we wrap up, Taylor, what are you working on now? What are you excited about for this year?
I'm working on some serious funnels. I've already had funnels in my business, but kind of basic. And now I'm just taking, like, I keep looking over here because it's like listed and drawn out over here. I'm so excited. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be awesome. Tons of passive income coming my way.
I love that. Do you have any like upcoming trips? Are you going to go on some vacations or something?
So I don't know. I don't have anything set in. I'm definitely going to. But me and my boyfriend have been looking at some cruises, maybe some like tropical summer stuff is what we're planning now.
Oh, I love it. Awesome. Well, you guys, I hope you have enjoyed this meaty and juicy podcast. If you're not following Taylor already, I'm going to put every single link below. So if you're on YouTube, that will be in the comments below. If you're on iTunes or Stitcher, you can hit the 3 dots next to this title that you're listening to and click View Full Description. You'll see all the links below. You can click away. Be sure to download that freebie and join her group, Ambitious Millennial Entrepreneurs. But in the meantime, Taylor, thank you so much for coming on the show, talking to us ladies on how we can increase our visibility, especially with live streaming in our Facebook group. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you, and I would love to have you back in the future.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, guys, we will see you next week where we're going to be wrapping up live streaming month.
Thanks for listening in today to the Visibility Vixen podcast. Subscribe now and share with a fellow Vixen who wants to start building their visibility. For more fire in your life and brand, visit visibilityvixen.com.